The Sony a6000 is turning 6 years old this year. That being said, is it still worth buying going into 2020? It depends. So to start off, if you're looking at getting the a6000 for photography, maybe if it's your first camera or if you're upgrading from your smartphone and you just want to use it for photography, it's a fantastic camera. Just to name some specs, it has a 24 megapixel sensor, it shoots 11 frames a second, it has an electronic viewfinder, a built-in flash, and it has pretty decent autofocus. And all that packed into this camera is perfect for any sort of beginner or intermediate photography, especially with the interchangeable lens system. You can buy different lenses for it and really expand it with different accessories and take some amazing photos with it. So if you're looking at getting the a6000 for photography, definitely go for it. Go on eBay, pick one up for like $300 and then go invest in some lenses. It's going to be a fantastic camera for photography. And now where things start to get a little bit iffy is when we move on to the video part of this camera. So it's 2020, more and more people are getting into YouTube, vlogging, social media, trying to be influencers, or really any sort of video shooting. And if you're looking into buying this camera for any of that sort of thing, this is where we need to think things through a little more. So I'm gonna go ahead and name off a few reasons why I think maybe you should look somewhere else if you're looking into doing video work, or YouTube, or vlogging, or any of that sort of thing going on into 2020. So the first thing I want to bring up is that this camera does not have an external mic input. So what that means is that you're not going to be able to put any sort of shotgun mic on top of the camera, or any lav mic or anything of that nature onto this camera, because you're not going to be able to plug it in anywhere. There's no 3.5mm input, there's no XLR input, there's no sort of audio input at all in this camera. Now it does have built-in microphones, which I'm going to go ahead and show you right now. I'm going to do a little bit of a test with it just to show you what kind of quality you can get out of the internal microphones on the Sony a6000. Since the internal microphones are really the only option you have for doing any sort of audio recording with this, unless you want to go external, but then this just adds a lot more hassle into it. So I'm just going to go ahead and test the internal microphones for you, do a little vlog test, and just show you guys what type of audio quality you're going to get out of this camera. Alright, so this is an internal mic test. I'm inside right now in kind of a small kitchen. I'm actually going to go outside right now and we'll do a test out there. But this is about arm's length away. I have the 16 to 50mm OSS lens on here. So this is pretty much, 60mm good wide vlogging lens. So, I'm about arm's length away. Pretty much like you'd be if you're vlogging. So, yep, this is just a test for that. I'm just kind of walking around. Let's go outside for a second, see how it is out there. It's kind of a busy road over there. I guess I'll go check the mail. So yeah, it's kind of windy actually too. It's, like decent wind, I guess. So yeah, let me know what you think. Audio test, the Sony a6000, internal microphones, and I got no mail. So yeah, a little more wind over here. Let me know what you think. Comment down below what else you want to see for like maybe videos with this camera, or what other cameras I should get. I don't know, just let me know what kind of videos you want me to make, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna head back inside. Here we go. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of more of an extensive audio test. Also, there's these things, you can probably hear them. Kind of ignore that, that's not part of the actual audio. Actually, I'll stand still for a second. Those are like the camera strap things. They really shake around a lot, and I don't really like them there that much. But yeah, I'll just kind of stop moving for a second, so maybe if that was really distracting or something. But that's part of the camera. You can take them off, but they're going to pretty much be on the camera all the time anyway, so that's also something to think about. Alright, so I actually decided to do one more audio test. So right now the camera is about 6 feet away from me, just like how I record my videos with my a7 III. And yeah, so we'll see how that is. Maybe it's, might get worse, or maybe it's about the same, but it's about 6 feet away, about 2 arms lengths away. So yeah, let me know how you think this audio is. If it's acceptable for you, then go ahead and buy this camera. I don't know, I mean, the audio is not going to be great, but it's really depends on what you need it for. So yeah, anyways, just a test for this. Go ahead and use this how you want. I'm really not good at doing this sort of stuff. Either way, so yeah, I guess you can make up your mind on your own if you think the audio is good or acceptable for you. Anyways, now let's get back to the video. Alright, so next up on the list, this camera does not have a touchscreen. Now this is something just quick. It's something that maybe for some people it'll be a big deal, for some people it won't. But a lot of the newer cameras, you can use a touchscreen to scroll through settings, to change shutter speed, ISO, focus points, anything like that. This camera does not have any of that, so it's going to be a little harder to change all your settings. Now obviously there's still dials on top, and this really isn't a big deal for a lot of people, but I'm just going to throw it out there just in case you think it's a big deal, because a lot of newer cameras do have that option. Alright, so next up, this is a pretty big deal if you want to do any sort of vlogging or any studio work like what I'm doing right now, but besides that, it's not a super huge problem. So this camera does not have any sort of flip up screen, so it goes straight up and down, and that's about it. It does not go fully forward or underneath like the new Nikon camera. So you're not gonna be able to see yourself if you want to do any vlogging, or if you have the camera in front of you like in a studio like what I'm doing right now. You're not gonna be able to see yourself at all. And one way that I used to get around that with my Sony a7 III is I actually use the Play Memories app by Sony, and I can use my phone as a monitor, which I'm actually doing right now. So you can see that right there. I'm using my phone as a monitor, and it's pretty much just a live view. I can change the settings and I can start and stop recording video. So it's pretty handy, especially for what I do usually. I always use this. Every time I record a video, I have it on my phone just so I can make sure I'm in frame, make sure my settings are right, and make sure I'm always recording. Now with the Sony a6000, I got the camera and I downloaded the app, I hooked it up, expecting, to be able to use this as maybe like a studio camera like I'm doing right now, and just be able to see myself, record myself with my phone as a monitor. But I got it all hooked up and realized that you can do everything on this app just like with the a7 III. You can use it as a monitor, you can switch your settings, but you can't do that in video mode. I don't know why Sony did this. I don't know why they chose to eliminate recording videos with the app, but it really sucks because you're gonna need to like buy an external monitor to put on top of the camera or something if you want to do any sort of studio work. And for vlogging, a big external monitor isn't gonna be good at all. You really want that flippy screen like what the newer Sony cameras have, like the a6100, the a6400, and the a6600. And also any of Canon's cameras have a flippy screen as well. So if you're doing any sort of vlogging, that's gonna suck, and that's something to really think about. But also if you want to do studio work and use your phone as a monitor like I do with my a7 III, you're not gonna be able to do that either. So you're probably gonna have to invest in some sort of monitor. Alright, next up, another big downside is this camera does not have 4K or 120 frames a second. This is another one that's a pretty big deal for some people and really just not super important for other people. So since this camera came out in 2014, 4K wasn't very big back then. Not many cameras really had it, especially not any budget cameras like this. So it doesn't have 4K recording, it maxes out at 1080p, but it also doesn't have 120 frames a second. So it goes up to 60 frames a second, 1080p. It doesn't do 120 frames a second, not even in 720p or 480p. It just doesn't do it at all. So that could be a big deal if you like doing a lot of slow motion or a lot of B-roll or anything like that. But it does have 60 frames a second, which is, it's still better than nothing. It's better than just keeping at 24 frames a second. You can still get some good B-roll or a little bit of slow motion, but it's just not gonna be as good as 120 frames a second. And 1080p just isn't as crisp and clear as 4K. All right, next up, battery life. So I've been pretty spoiled with my a7 III because it has insane battery life. I mean, it just lasts all day on one battery. I have 2 extra batteries and I barely ever even have to use them. I mean, I just keep the same one in it for like days and days, and it just keeps going. So I will admit, I've been kind of spoiled with that. But even that being said, the Sony a6000 just does not have good battery life. You're definitely gonna want to have at least 1 or 2 extra batteries on the side just in case, because it just kind of drains away. You can pretty much just watch it go down when you're recording videos, or if you're outside just doing a long photo shoot. The battery just sucks right down. You're gonna need extras at all times unless you're just shooting a quick photo or two. All right, and then the last thing I came up with on this list is that this camera doesn't have any sort of weather sealing. Now again, just like a lot of these, it's really gonna be a personal preference. All these could be a huge deal breaker for somebody, or maybe somebody else won't even care about them, but it doesn't have weather sealing, so if you go outside in any sort of mist or snow or rain, you're really gonna wanna be careful. It could damage the camera, and you definitely don't wanna do that. So keep that in mind, no weather sealing. Again, a lot of newer cameras have that, even lower end cameras, but the Sony a6000 does not, so keep that in mind as well. And so that right there wraps up my list of reasons why you might want to look a different direction if you were thinking about buying the a6000 in 2020. Now before I end this video, I really want to say that this is a fantastic camera, and I'm not saying you can't make YouTube videos with it or you can't do any sort of this stuff with it. It's a great camera, and if you can pick it up used on eBay for like $300, it's a fantastic camera and it's gonna definitely get you by. But I just think at this point there's definitely better options for around the price point, like the Canon M50 or the a6300 if you want to shell out a little more money, or even the a6100. It's definitely a lot more, but it's still on that budget beginner camera, and in a few months we'll probably be seeing some more used a6100s coming around, and it really fills in a lot of the gaps that the a6000 doesn't have. And also, if you do own one of these cameras, or if you really want to see a lot of the things it can do and some of the upsides of it, definitely go check out Hi Kyle Tagar on YouTube. Hopefully I said that right. But go check him out. He's like an a6000 master, and he makes a lot of videos about it and how amazing of a camera it is. So go check out his channel if you really want to get some inspiration. And if you still want to buy this camera after this video, I don't mean to deter anyone away, I just want to really warn you about some of the downsides it has. So anyways, go check out his channel and also subscribe to my channel. I make a lot of videos about Sony NEX cameras and really any sort of camera gear related stuff. Check out my channel and make sure you like this video. And yeah, that about wraps this video up. Thank you so much for watching. Try not to hate too much in the comments. You know, I still think it's a great camera. I just think there's a lot of reasons why maybe you should steer clear of it and go somewhere else. But either way, I'm rambling on. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.